My name is Flora Mitchell. I'm 31. Last Tuesday at 6:47 p.m., I was standing in my parents' driveway holding a bakery box with their anniversary cake, the lemon lavender one my mother had mentioned wanting 3 months ago, when my father opened the front door exactly 4 inches, looked at me like I was selling magazines and said, "We didn't invite you, Flora." Behind him, I could see the white paper lanterns my sister Vivian had hung in the foyer. 72 of them. I'd counted them through the window before I knocked. Classical music was playing. Vivian's laugh echoed from somewhere inside, bright and performative. My mother's voice followed. "Is someone at the door, Gerald?" "It's Flora!" my father called back, not moving from the threshold. The silence that followed lasted exactly 11 seconds. I know because I watched the numbers change on my car's dashboard clock through the reflection in their storm door. Then my mother appeared behind him, wearing the navy dress I'd sent her for her birthday. She looked at me, then at the cake box, then at Vivian, who had materialized at the bottom of the stairs in a champagne-colored gown I recognized from the Nordstrom website. $847. I'd seen it in my recommended items because we'd once shared a laptop. "Vivian said you couldn't make it," my mother said carefully. I never said that. My hands were starting to sweat around the cake box. I didn't even know about the party until I saw Aunt Martha's Facebook post this morning. Vivian's face arranged itself into concern so practiced it could have been painted on. "Flora, I called you 3 times last week. You said you had a shift. I worked Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today is Tuesday." "Well," Vivian touched our mother's shoulder, a gesture of protection. "You've been so busy with work, and we know how stressed you get. We didn't want to overwhelm you." My father's hand tightened on the doorframe. "The invitations went out 6 weeks ago. I never received one." "That's because you moved." Vivian's voice had that edge now, the one that sounded like sympathy, but cut like wire. "You're always moving, Flora. Denver, then that place in Capitol Hill. Now wherever you are, how are we supposed to keep track?" I'd lived at the same address in Denver for 2 years and 8 months. I'd sent them my information 4 times. Twice by email, once by text, once on a Christmas card they'd apparently received, because my mother had thanked me for it. "I've been at the same apartment since I made charge nurse," I said. "Charge nurse." My father said it like it was a minor achievement, something between getting a library card and learning to parallel park. "Yes," Vivian mentioned. "Before I go on, if stories about standing up for yourself mean something to you, please hit like and subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from right now and what time is it there. Can I at least bring in the cake?" I held up the box. Through the cellophane window you could see the delicate purple flowers, the gold leaf trim. "It's the one Mom wanted, from Claire's Bakery on Larimer Street." My mother's expression flickered, something that might have been want or memory or both. But Vivian stepped forward. "We already have a cake, Flora. I ordered one from Claire's 3 weeks ago, the lemon lavender, Mom's favorite." Of course she had. "Well," I said, and my voice came out steadier than I expected. "This one's paid for. Maybe you can freeze it." "We don't have room in the freezer." Vivian smiled. She'd gotten her teeth whitened again. "But that's sweet of you to think of us, even if you weren't invited." The door closed. I stood there holding a $68 cake in 92-degree heat for approximately 2 minutes before I walked back to my car. Through the front window, I could see people gathering in the living room. My Uncle Robert, my cousin Jenny, Aunt Martha in her green dress, the one she always wore to important things. I put the cake in the passenger seat and drove to my apartment. I didn't cry. I'd stopped crying about my family 4 years ago, right around the time I'd made my 87th mortgage payment on their house, and realized they still thought Vivian was the one saving them. Let me take you back 8 years, to when Aunt Martha was still the person who believed me. It was July. I was 23, 3 months out of nursing school, living in a studio apartment in Aurora, that cost $850 a month and smelled permanently like whoever had lived there before me had deep fried something every single day. I was working night shifts at Denver Health, $52,000 a year before taxes, learning how to insert IVs without my hands shaking and how to tell family members that their person wasn't going to make it through the night. Aunt Martha had taken me to lunch at this Vietnamese place on Federal Boulevard. She ordered spring rolls and pho. I got the same thing I always got, vermicelli bowl with grilled pork. And she looked at me across the table with those sharp blue eyes that missed nothing and said, "Your parents are about to lose the house." I set down my chopsticks. What? The mortgage. They're 4 months behind. Your father's hours got cut at the plant, and your mother's been trying to keep it quiet, but I saw the notice on their counter when I was there for Sunday dinner. My parents had a 3-bedroom colonial on Elm Street that they'd bought in 1994 for $186,000. They'd refinanced twice. The payment was $2,280 a month. How much do they owe? Total? Around $137,000. But right now, they need $9,120 to catch up before the bank starts foreclosure proceedings. I did the math in my head. My checking account had $2,847. My savings had $6,200. I'd been putting away money for a car because mine had 183,000 miles and made a sound like a dying seal every time I turned left. "I can help," I said. Aunt Martha reached across the table and took my hand. Her fingers were cool and thin, like bird bones. "Flora, sweetheart, you just started working. You don't have to fix this. They're my parents. They're adults who made their own financial choices. I can send them money, not all of it, but enough to help." She was quiet for a long moment, studying my face. Then she squeezed my hand once and said, "If you do this, do it smart. Keep records, every payment, every transfer, every conversation. Because someday, little Bloom, someone's going to try to take credit for what you've done, and you're going to need proof." I didn't understand what she meant then. I thought she was just being careful, the way she always was with money and trust and family. But Aunt Martha had watched my family longer than I'd been alive. She knew what was coming. I called my parents that night after my shift. It was 6:51 a.m. My mother answered on the third ring, her voice thick with sleep. "Mom, it's me. I heard about the mortgage." Silence. "I can help. I can send you money." "Who told you?" My mother's voice had gone tight. "Does it matter? I want to help. We don't need charity from our children. It's not charity, it's family." More silence. Then my father's voice in the background. "Who is it?" "Flora. She knows about the house." "Martha." My father's voice was sharp. "I told her not to say anything." My mother came back on the line. "Flora, we're handling it. Let me send you money, please. I can do $2,000 now and more next month. I'll make it work." I heard my parents talking, their voices muffled. Then my mother said, "That's very generous, but we can't accept." "Why not?" "Because Vivian already offered to take care of it." Something cold settled in my stomach. Vivian was 25. She worked as an administrative assistant at a law firm downtown, making maybe $38,000 a year. She drove a leased BMW and went to Aspen every winter. "How?" I asked. "She's been saving. She's very responsible with money." I almost laughed. Vivian had asked me to lend her $400 3 months earlier because she'd overdrafted her account buying bottles at a club. I'd sent it. She'd never paid me back. "When is she sending it?" "She already did, last week. The full amount to catch up, plus she's going to cover the next 6 months while your father looks for better work." The math didn't make sense. Even if Vivian had been saving aggressively since she was 18, which she hadn't, she couldn't have $20,000 liquid. Not with her spending habits. Not with her lifestyle. "That's great," I said. because what else could I say? I'm glad she could help. She's always thinking of us, my mother said, and there was something in her voice I'd heard my whole life, a warmth she used when she talked about Vivian, soft and proud and complete. I worked a 12-hour shift that night. 3 trauma cases, 1 cardiac arrest, and a 22-year-old who'd overdosed in a gas station bathroom and coded twice before we got him stable. At 4 a.m., I sat in the break room and checked my parents' mortgage account online. I'd set up access years ago when I'd helped my mother figure out online banking. The login still worked. The past due amount showed $9,120. Status: paid in full on July 18th. Payment method: Gerald and Judith Mitchell checking account. Which meant Vivian had transferred money into their account and they'd paid the mortgage themselves. Smart, clean, no trail of Vivian's generosity, just my parents' account looking current. But I pulled up their checking account history. I shouldn't have had access, but my mother had never removed me as an authorized user from when I'd helped her set up bill pay. And I saw it. Deposit on July 15th. $11,000. Source: Vivian Mitchell. The next 6 months I watched. Every month, like clockwork, a deposit would appear in my parents' account. $2,280. Sometimes $2,300. Always from Vivian. And every month, my mother would call me and mention, casually, how Vivian was taking care of them, how grateful they were, how lucky they were to have a daughter who was so financially stable and generous. I was making my own payments, quietly, directly to the mortgage company under my parents' account number, using my own checking account. $2,280 every month, plus extra when I worked overtime. I documented everything: account confirmations, payment receipts, screenshots. Because Aunt Martha had told me to keep records, and Aunt Martha was never wrong. 3 months later, Vivian called me. It was a Saturday morning, 9:17 a.m. I was still in bed after working a night shift. Flora, I need a favor. I sat up. Vivian never asked for favors. She demanded them. What's up? Can you lend me $3,000? Just for a couple of weeks. I have a cash flow thing. What kind of cash flow thing? Just some expenses. I'll pay you back by the end of the month. I thought about the mortgage payments I'd seen, the deposits that came like clockwork. I thought you were doing well. Mom said you've been helping them with the house. I am. This is separate. Come on, Flora. You're making nurse money now. You can afford it. Where's your savings? Tied up? Look, can you help me or not? I should have said no. I should have asked more questions. Instead, I said, I'll send you $1,500. That's what I can spare right now. Fine. Whatever. She hung up without saying thank you. I sent the money. She never paid it back. And I started wondering, if Vivian could ask me for $3,000, how was she sending my parents $2,280 every single month? 2 weeks later, I drove to my parents' house unannounced. It was a Sunday afternoon, 3:42 p.m. Vivian's BMW was in the driveway. My mother answered the door, surprised but pleased. Flora, we weren't expecting you. I was in the neighborhood. Thought I'd stop by. Inside, Vivian was at the dining room table with my father, both of them hunched over a laptop. Financial documents were spread across the table. My father's reading glasses were halfway down his nose. What's going on? I asked. My father looked up. Just paperwork. Your sister's helping us reorganize some accounts. What kind of accounts? Vivian closed the laptop. Nothing exciting. Just setting up some automatic payments to make things easier for them. For the mortgage? Among other things, she smiled. Since I'm handling their payments, it makes sense for me to have access. Streamlines everything. Something sharp turned in my chest. You're getting added to their accounts? As a co-owner, my father said. It's easier this way. If something happens to us, Vivian can take care of things without waiting for probate. I looked at my mother. She was nodding, her face soft with trust. What about me? I asked. The room went quiet. What about you? Vivian's voice was careful. Why wouldn't you add both of us? My father removed his glasses. Flora, you're very busy with work. You've made it clear you're focused on your career. Vivian's local, she's available, and she's already managing the financial help. It makes sense. I could help too. You already help, my mother said quickly. You sent us that nice card last Christmas, and you call every week. That's enough, sweetheart. Vivian was watching me, her expression unreadable. I left 20 minutes later. I sat in my car in their driveway for 10 minutes, my hands shaking so hard I couldn't turn the key. Because I knew what was happening, I could see it forming, like a storm system on a weather map. Vivian was positioning herself, not just as the helpful daughter, but as the only daughter who mattered, and my parents were letting her. I called Aunt Martha that night. She's getting added to their accounts, I said. I know, your mother told me. I'm the one paying the mortgage. I know that too. Did you tell them? Would they believe me? I didn't have an answer. Aunt Martha was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Keep your records, Flora. Keep every receipt, every screenshot, every confirmation number. Because one day, this is going to come to a head, and you're going to need proof of what you've done. What if proof isn't enough? Then at least you'll know you told the truth. And someday, little Bloom, the truth has a way of finding sunlight. That was 4 years ago. 4 years of monthly payments. 4 years of watching Vivian take credit. 4 years of my parents calling her their savior while I worked 60-hour weeks in the ICU, picking up overtime shifts to cover their mortgage while paying my own rent. 4 years of being erased. I got promoted to charge nurse 2 years in. My parents sent a text. Congrats on the new job. Vivian got engaged to a lawyer from her firm. My parents threw her an engagement party at a country club. 60 guests. Open bar. My mother cried during the toast about how proud she was. I wasn't invited to that either. I found out from Facebook. The engagement ended 6 months later. Vivian moved back in with our parents temporarily. She's still there. And through it all, I kept paying. $2,280 every month. Sometimes $2,400 when there were late fees I wanted to clear. Plus the extra $500 here and there when my father's truck needed new brakes, or my mother needed a root canal or the water heater died. I kept every record, every bank confirmation, every screenshot, every email I sent to the mortgage company confirming payment. I kept them because Aunt Martha told me to, and because somewhere deep down, I knew I'd need them. 6 months ago, Aunt Martha died. She was 79, heart attack in her sleep. Quick and clean, the way she would have wanted. I flew home for the funeral. I wore my navy suit and sat in the third row of the church, behind my parents and Vivian. During the eulogy, the pastor talked about Aunt Martha's fierce love, her sharp mind, her commitment to truth. My mother cried. My father held her hand. Vivian dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, her shoulders shaking. I sat dry-eyed and numb, thinking about the last thing Aunt Martha had said to me. It was 3 weeks before she died. She'd called me at 11 p.m., which was late for her. Her voice sounded tired. Flora, I need to tell you something. Are you okay? I'm fine. I just need you to listen. When I'm gone, there's going to be things that come to light. Documents, information. Your sister isn't going to like it. What kind of documents? The kind that prove what you've been doing and what she hasn't. My heart started hammering. Aunt Martha, what did you do? I kept my own records, little Bloom. Every conversation I had with your parents about money, every time Vivian asked them for something, every time they praised her for helping when I knew it was you paying. Why? Because someone needed to be a witness, and because I knew you'd never defend yourself. She was right. I wouldn't have. I would have kept paying and stayed silent and let Vivian have the credit because it was easier than fighting. There's a lawyer, Aunt Martha said. David Greenspan. His office is on Colfax Avenue, Suite 304. He has a sealed envelope for you. Don't open it until the right time. You'll know when. When is the right time? When you've had enough. 2 weeks after the funeral, I got a call from David Greenspan's office. A paralegal with a kind voice told me I was named in Aunt Martha's will. There was a small bequest, $5,000, and a sealed envelope with instructions not to open it until Flora knows she's ready. I picked it up on a Tuesday afternoon. The envelope was cream-colored, heavy stock, sealed with red wax. My name was written on the front in Aunt Martha's precise handwriting. I put it in my nightstand drawer and didn't look at it for 4 months. Because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to fight. I wasn't ready to lose my family, even the version of my family that had already lost me. I wasn't ready to be the difficult daughter, the bitter one, the one who caused problems. So I kept paying the mortgage. I kept working my shifts. I kept my head down. Until last Tuesday, when I stood in my parents' driveway holding a cake and my father told me I wasn't invited to their anniversary party. That night, I opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten on Aunt Martha's personal stationery, the kind with the small blue flowers in the corner. There were also 3 other documents, folded and crisp. I read the letter first. Dearest Flora, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. And Vivian has already done what I knew she would do. She's taken credit for your work, convinced your parents she's their hero, and positioned herself to inherit their gratitude, their estate, and their love. I'm sorry I couldn't stop this while I was alive. I tried talking to them. They didn't listen. They only hear what they want to hear. Do you remember that lunch at the Vietnamese place on Federal Boulevard, when I told you about the mortgage? I told you to keep records. I hope you did. Because I kept records too. For the past 8 years, I've been documenting everything. Every conversation your parents had with me about money. Every time Vivian asked them for help while claiming to provide it. Every time they praised her while you worked yourself to exhaustion. I have copies of every mortgage payment confirmation from your bank account. Recordings of conversations where Vivian admitted to me she wasn't paying. She told me she couldn't keep up the act much longer last Christmas. Screenshots of her social media showing expenses inconsistent with someone sending $2,280 per month. A notarized statement from my accountant analyzing the numbers. The original documents are with David Greenspan. These copies are for you to know I'm telling the truth. Your parents are having their 40th anniversary party on Tuesday, November 12th. I know because your mother invited me before I got sick. She told me Vivian is planning something special, a speech about family and sacrifice. I won't be there, but these documents will be. Don't show this to anyone yet. Wait until Vivian makes her move. Wait until she stands up in front of everyone and takes credit. Then, little Bloom, you give them the truth. You are not invisible. You are not forgettable. You are not less than your sister. You never were. All my love, your Aunt P.S. There's a gift card to Claire's Bakery in here. Get your mother the lemon lavender cake she loves. She's always loved thoughtful gestures, even when she doesn't deserve them. I read the letter 3 times. Then I looked at the documents, bank records, 8 years of mortgage payments, every single one from my account, a printout of my parents' checking account. Aunt Martha had been a joint owner, I'd forgotten, showing Vivian's deposits. They'd stopped 18 months ago. The last one was January 2023. For the past 18 months, I'd been the only one paying, and my parents had never noticed. The third document was a notarized statement dated 3 weeks before Aunt Martha died. It laid out the numbers clearly. Total mortgage payments, August 2016 to October 2024, $227,760. Paid by Flora Mitchell, $219,480. Paid by Vivian Mitchell, $8,280. 4 months only, August to December 2016. I sat on my bedroom floor and laughed. It came out sharp and broken like something cracking. Then I called David Greenspan. The anniversary party was on November 12th, a Tuesday evening. 60 guests at my parents' house. They'd rented a tent for the backyard, hired a catering company, bought flowers. Vivian had arranged everything, according to the Facebook event page I could see, even though I wasn't invited. I wore the same navy suit I'd worn to Aunt Martha's funeral. I left my apartment at 5:30 p.m., stopped at FedEx to print one final document, and arrived at my parents' house at 6:38 p.m. Cars lined both sides of Elm Street. Through the windows, I could see people laughing, champagne glasses catching the light. A string quartet was playing in the corner of the living room. I didn't knock this time. I walked around to the backyard gate, the one that had been broken for 6 years and never latched properly. The tent was white and glowing, strung with the same paper lanterns from the front hallway. Round tables with cream linens. A bar in the corner. A small stage with a microphone. I stood at the edge of the tent for approximately 90 seconds before my cousin Jenny saw me. "Flora?" She hugged me, confused but happy. "I didn't know you were coming." Last-minute decision. She pulled me inside. People turned. My Uncle Robert waved. My mother's best friend Patricia looked surprised but smiled. My mother was at the head table, wearing the navy dress. She saw me and went very still. My father stood up. "Flora." Vivian turned from where she'd been talking to the caterer. Her face did something complicated. Surprise, irritation, calculation. "Flora," my mother said carefully. "We didn't—" "I know, but I'm here now. Congratulations on 40 years. I held up a small, wrapped box, the size of a book. "I brought you something." My father's jaw tightened. Vivian was already moving toward me. "Flora, this is really not the time," she said quietly. "This is Mom and Dad's night. Can you please not make it about you?" Around us, people were starting to notice the tension. Conversations were trailing off. "I'm not making it about me," I said. "I just want to give them their gift." My mother stood up. She looked fragile suddenly, older. "That's very sweet, dear. You can leave it on the present table." "I'd rather give it to you directly." Vivian stepped between us. "Flora, leave." "No." The word came out clear and final. In my peripheral vision, I saw people watching. The string quartet had stopped playing. "You weren't invited," Vivian said. Her voice was still quiet, still controlled, but there was steel underneath. "You can't just show up because you feel left out. This is pathetic." "Vivian," my father said, but he didn't tell her to stop. "I'm serious, Dad. This is exactly what Flora does. She makes everything about her. She can't stand that I've been taking care of you, that I've been the one helping, so she has to crash your party and—" "You've been taking care of them?" I asked. Vivian's eyes narrowed. "Yes, for 8 years, while you've been in Denver playing nurse and ignoring them." The tent was completely silent now. "Vivian," my mother said, "that's not fair." "It's true, Mom. I've been paying their mortgage. I've been covering their bills. I've been here. Where has Flora been?" I held up the box. "Can I give you your gift now?" My father took it. His hands were shaking slightly. He removed the ribbon, lifted the lid. Inside were papers. He pulled them out, confused. "What is this?" he asked. "Mortgage payment confirmations," I said, "from my bank account, 8 years' worth, every single month from August 2016 to October 2024. Total paid, $219,480. The silence was thick enough to choke on. My father was staring at the papers. My mother had gone white. Vivian laughed. It sounded sharp. "This is insane. Dad, she's lying. She made those up." "They're real," I said. You can call the bank, you can check your mortgage account, every payment has my account number on it. That's impossible, Vivian said. I've been paying. They know I've been paying. You paid for 4 months, I said. August through December 2016, $2,280 each month, deposited into their account. Total, $9,120. Then you stopped. That's not true. It is true. Aunt Martha tracked it. She had access to Mom and Dad's checking account. She was a joint owner, remember? She pulled the records. Your last deposit was December 18th, 2016. My mother sat down heavily. My father was flipping through the papers, his face frozen. This is... Vivian's voice cracked. This is a betrayal. You're trying to turn them against me on their anniversary. I'm trying to tell the truth. Your truth. Your version where you're the hero and I'm the villain. The numbers don't have versions, Vivian. They just are. She turned to our parents. Her eyes were filling with tears. Mom, Dad, I don't know what she's trying to do, but she's lying. I've been taking care of you. You know that. You've seen it. My father looked up from the papers. His voice came out hoarse. These have your account number on them, Flora. Yes. You've been paying our mortgage? Yes. For 8 years? Yes. My mother's hand was over her mouth. Vivian made a sound like a sob. I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're so jealous that you'd... There's more, I said. I pulled out my phone. I'd queued up the email already. I handed the phone to my father. Aunt Martha sent this to your email address 3 weeks before she died. You never opened it. It's in your spam folder. She sent it from her personal account, not her main one. My father took the phone. I watched his face as he read. The email was short. Gerald and Judith, I need to tell you something I should have said years ago. Flora has been paying your mortgage since 2016. Not Vivian, Flora. I have documentation, bank records, payment confirmations, everything. Vivian paid for 4 months and then stopped. Flora has paid every month since. She spent over $200,000 of her own money, working night shifts, picking up overtime, living in a small apartment so she could cover your house payment. And you never noticed. You never asked. You just accepted Vivian's story because she told it confidently and Flora stayed quiet. I'm telling you now because I'm old and dying and I don't have time for politeness anymore. My lawyer has copies of everything. When I'm gone, Flora will decide what to do with the truth. I hope you'll do the right thing, but I'm not counting on it. Martha. My father's hands were shaking. He passed the phone to my mother. Vivian was crying now, real tears. She's lying. Aunt Martha was senile. She didn't know what she was saying. She wasn't senile, my Uncle Robert said quietly from table 3. She was sharp until the day she died. Vivian turned on him. You don't know anything. I know she told me the same thing, he said. Last Christmas. She told me Flora was paying your parents' mortgage and that Vivian was taking credit. I didn't believe her. I should have. My mother was crying now too, silent tears running down her face. I don't understand, my father said. His voice was small. Why didn't you tell us? I tried, I said. The first time you told me Vivian had already taken care of it, so I paid anyway. And I kept paying. But why? Because you're my parents. Because it was the right thing to do. Because I thought eventually you'd notice. Vivian stood up. Her face was red and blotchy. This is bullshit. Complete bullshit. I've been helping them in other ways. I've been here. I've been present. You've been living in their house rent-free for 3 years, I said. You got added to their bank accounts. You convinced them to list you as their power of attorney. You positioned yourself to inherit everything while I paid for the roof over your head. That's not... She stopped. I deserve that. I've earned that. I've been taking care of them. By doing what exactly? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. I've been. I help Mom with errands. I drive Dad to appointments. I'm here when they need me. I offered to do those things. You told them I was too busy. You were too busy. You live in Denver. 2 hours away. I called every week asking to visit. You always said they had plans. My mother was staring at Vivian now. Something was shifting in her expression. You told us Flora was too busy with work, she said slowly. You said she'd said she couldn't come to Sunday dinners. She did say that. I never said that, I said. I asked to come, every week for 3 years. You said you'd check with Mom and Dad and get back to me. You never did. The tent was so quiet I could hear the traffic on the street. Vivian's face was doing something complicated, crumbling and hardening at the same time. You're twisting everything. You're making me sound like a monster when all I've done is try to help our family. Then show them your bank records, I said. Show them proof you've been paying their mortgage. I don't have to prove anything to you. Show them. This is insane. This whole thing is. She turned to our parents. Are you going to let her do this? On your anniversary? In front of everyone? My father was still holding the papers. He looked at Vivian. Did you pay our mortgage? He asked. Yes. I told you I did. For how long? She stopped. I don't remember exact dates. 4 months, I said. August through December 2016. Then you stopped. You told Mom and Dad you were still paying, but you weren't. You let them believe you were supporting them while I did it. Vivian's eyes were wild now. I was going to. I wanted to. But I had expenses. I had my own life. You bought a BMW, my Uncle Robert said. In January 2017. I remember because you posted about it on Facebook. She turned on him. I leased that. For $680 a month, while telling our parents you were paying their $2,280 mortgage. She was breathing hard now. This isn't fair. You're all ganging up on me. I made mistakes, okay? I'm sorry. But I was trying. I've been trying to be a good daughter. By lying? My mother's voice was soft but sharp. Vivian looked at her. Mom, please. I was scared. I'd promised to help and I couldn't keep up the payments, and I thought if I just told you I was still doing it, maybe I could figure it out later. And then time passed and it got harder to tell the truth. And you let your sister pay for 8 years while you took credit, my father said. I didn't know Flora was paying. You knew someone was, I said. The mortgage was current. You checked the account every month. You had access. You saw the payments going through. You just didn't care where they came from as long as Mom and Dad thought it was you. She didn't have an answer for that. My mother stood up. She walked over to me slow and careful, like she was crossing ice. You've been paying our mortgage for 8 years? Yes. Every month? Every month. While working night shifts? Yes. She reached out and touched my face. Her hand was cold. Why didn't you tell us? I tried. You didn't hear me. I'm sorry. Her voice broke. I'm so sorry. My father was standing now, too. He looked at Vivian. I think you should leave, he said. Vivian's face went white. What? This is our anniversary party. We invited our family to celebrate with us. You're not family right now. You're a stranger who lied to us for 8 years. Dad, please. Leave, Vivian. She looked at my mother. Mom? My mother didn't look at her. She was still looking at me, tears running down her face. Vivian grabbed her purse, walked toward the exit, stopped, turned back. You're all going to regret this, she said. Her voice was shaking. Flora's not some saint. She's manipulative. She's been playing you, making herself look good while Vivian. My father's voice was steel. Get out. She left. The tent stayed silent for about 10 seconds. Then my Uncle Robert started clapping. Slowly, other people joined in. I didn't want applause. I didn't want celebration. I just wanted to go home. But my mother was hugging me, and my father was crying, and people were coming up to shake my hand and tell me they were sorry. I stayed for another hour. I ate a piece of the cake Vivian had ordered. It was good, lemon lavender with buttercream, exactly what my mother had wanted. Before I left, my father pulled me aside. "The house is paid off," he said. "As of last month, did you know that?" I hadn't. I'd just kept making payments. "It's yours," he said. "The house. We're putting it in your name. It's the least we can do." "I don't want the house." "Flora, I don't want the house, Dad. I wanted you to see me. That's all I ever wanted." He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I see you now." I drove home at 11:47 p.m. The cake was in the passenger seat, the one I'd brought, the one that hadn't fit in their freezer. I'd taken it back. I didn't cry until I was in my apartment. Then I sat on the floor and read Aunt Martha's letter again and cried until my throat hurt. 6 months later, I'm still in Denver, still working ICU, still a charge nurse. My parents and I talk twice a week now, real conversations, not performative check-ins. They visited last month. We went hiking. My mother told me about her childhood, things I'd never heard. My father asked about my work, actually listened to the answers. Vivian moved out of their house 3 weeks after the party. She's living in an apartment in Aurora with 2 roommates. She hasn't spoken to me. I don't expect her to. My parents offered again to put the house in my name. I told them to keep it. They're talking about downsizing, maybe moving to a condo. I'm saving for my own place. A small house, maybe. Something with a garden. I visited Aunt Martha's grave last week, brought her purple irises, her favorite, sat on the grass and told her she was right. The truth did find sunlight. If you've ever had to choose between silence and truth, and you chose truth even though it cost you, type "I spoke up" in the comments. Or if you chose silence to keep the peace, type "I stayed quiet." Both are brave. Both are valid. But only one lets you sleep at night. If this story meant something to you, check the description for more stories just like this one. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being